Thanks for joining us on GMT. I'm Lucy Hockings in Washington. Well, as we've been hearing, Donald Trump has accepted the Republican Party nomination to run for the White House. The US president is often referred to as the most powerful role in the world. So we wanted to find out how the world feels about a Trump administration. Here are the views from our correspondents in key countries.
Let's be frank, here in the UK, politicians, the press, the public, we've all been massively distracted by the turmoil of the UK's vote to leave the European Union. And this week by the new Prime Minister Theresa May's meetings with her French and German counterpart, which means that all eyes have not been glued to the Republican convention in Ohio. But after this week, members of the British establishment will have to come to terms with the fact that if they're to preserve the special transatlantic relationship they are so proud of, they may soon have to deal with Donald Trump in the White House. So now is the time that big questions are being raised, like what a Trump administration would mean for the UK economy, for British trade deals, and crucially for shared security missions like the fight against the self-styled Islamic State.
Belgium itself is one of NATO's 28 members, alongside most of the rest of Europe and America and Canada too. Now, the founding principle really was the idea of mutual defence. If one of the members was attacked by an outsider, it could rely on a defensive response from the other members as a group. So what Mr. Trump has said has set alarm bells ringing. He was asked about Russian aggression recently towards the Baltic states, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, all of whom are NATO members. The question was, would they automatically qualify for American assistance if they were to be attacked? And his response seems to be a fundamental departure from that founding principle. He said they would, but only if they had fulfilled their own obligations towards America.
Here in Moscow, it's not just the man on that hill, Vladimir Putin, who thinks well of Donald Trump. Linguists can debate whether Putin meant bright or just colorful when he spoke of Donald Trump last winter, but right now it's the Republican who is more dear to the Russian establishment, and for a very simple reason. Donald Trump promises a more inward foreign policy, and that chimes very well with Russia's biggest grudge against America. Washington tries to teach other countries how to live. In his pursuit of making America great again, maybe Donald Trump will just do business with Russia, without reading any sermons on democracy, rule of law, and respecting the borders of other countries. And of course, Donald Trump was very generous in his compliments towards Vladimir Putin. And these don't come very often these days.
Israelis and Palestinians have been watching the US presidential campaign with great interest, and perhaps some concern too about how Trump will deal with the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Israel hasn't said anything publicly about Trump's endorsement, and his position is still unclear. It's been pointed out that he said several times how much he loves Israel, but his conversations about remaining neutral leave many wondering what his position will be if he becomes president. As for the Palestinians, well, he's still very much an unknown quantity for them too. His anti-Muslim rhetoric is a concern, but there's a feeling that Hillary Clinton hasn't done much to support the Palestinian cause either.
Donald Trump has made getting tough with China a hallmark of his campaign speeches. He maintains that the Chinese have come out on top in their trade dealings with the United States and that this all has to change. But here in Beijing, the locals don't seem that worried about the US presidential candidate, viewing his statements in the context of a political campaign. This has also been the editorial line of China's state-run newspapers. Crucially, these same newspapers see him as not Hillary Clinton, who has been attacked in the Chinese press following her criticism of China's human rights record and also the so-called pivot to Asia under the Obama administration. So in all, Donald Trump is being viewed as something of a curiosity, but not a particularly threatening one.